How you doing, people? I'm back. I'm sorry I've been missing. Jem here. Hope you're doing well. If we've not met, good to meet you. And if you've come back, well, nice to see you again. Folks, I got to tell you, the reason why you can't stop trying to fix things in the moment with your autistic child is because you just ain't making the time later for the restorative conversation. In this video, I'm going to tell you now, I've come back from the gym and bless my wife, stressed out with the kids in the house. Homeschooling is not easy, first of all. And there's been another argument where Ruby, as you know, she's demand avoidant. She's coming up to 6 years old now. She's upstairs, locked herself in her room. My wife is stressed out. What's happened? What's happened is my wife has tried to fix things in a moment. Again, time and time again, I explained to my wife, it makes no sense at all trying to correct Ruby when she's kicked off. And as much as I love my wife, it seems to be something she really, really struggles with. Maybe because she's very kind of hot on manners and discipline. Like, she's not a harsh person. She's a very soft-spoken, gentle, caring, loving woman. But when Ruby swears, it's just one of those things that she can't let go. And what happened from there? It escalated. So I asked myself a question when it all calmed down. What was the change that I made that stopped me from correcting Ruby in the moment? Like, what happened for Jem? Well, knowledge is power, right? And I know it's cheesy, but it really, really is. And sometimes even when you've got knowledge, it means fuck all, excuse my language, because you might understand something intellectually, but in the heat of the moment, old habits die hard. Now, once I learned that when Ruby swears, it's not her thinking, it's just her going into a reaction, I understood there was no benefit of me trying to correct her in a moment. If she swears, I completely ignore it. And instead, what I try and do is I look past that and see it as a signal. This is what's so important for mums and dads. When they're swearing, it is a stress response. It is a signal. It is the pilot on the plane saying, Mayday, Mayday, something's going wrong. So why is it that even when you know that trying to correct an autistic child with demand avoidance in the moment is a stupid idea, why do we keep doing it? Well, the obvious one is you may be emotionally dysregulated yourself in that moment. You're not perfect, are you? You've had a stressful day. You've got stress with work. You've got stress with money. You've got stress with relationships. I mean, we're not all Zen Buddhists, are we, right? Where we get to live in this, perfect utopian reality where we're always feeling balanced and regulated. Stuff happens to us as well. We're not removed from that. So that's fine. But with that said, what's stopping you? And this is what I was saying to my wife. Like, what do you think's getting in the way of you saying this child is kicking off? It's a stress response. It's not personal. And it came from her mouth. Well, we never get to do anything about it later. And I said, well, I think that's not quite true. But listening to what she said, do you know what I heard? I don't think I'm going to sit down with her when she's calmed down later and talk to her about why that language is not useful and to try and help her see that there's better ways of doing things. So if you don't make the time to have the restorative conversation, it's understandable. You're going to be more reactive in the moment. And that's normally what happens. So they swear, you look past it, you see it as a signal or a stress response. You try and understand what her real need was. And in this case, she was playing a game called Astro Boy, something like that, on the PlayStation. She couldn't get past a certain level. She asked her brother for help. Her brother was busy and she started swearing at him and it escalated. When she started swearing, what should have happened was a dialogue that says, Ruby, I can see you're angry. You've got big feelings. And just let her speak it out and swear it out and just go down to her level and just let her, let the train carry on, right? It's going 100 miles an hour. Don't get in the way of the train. Once we acknowledge the feelings and we focus on connecting and not correcting, yeah, we can diffuse the situation. But why did my wife not do that? And I understand, because she did not think that the language was acceptable. And she did not believe, because of past experiences for her, that she's going to have the time in the evening to sit down and say, right, okay, Ruby's calmed down now. This is the opportunity to sit down and say, you know what, Ruby, I remember when I was smaller and I got upset and I started saying things because I felt really upset and felt rejected, that I wanted help. Having that restorative conversation is an opportunity to speak to them where they're calm. That's the first thing. Nothing's going in their head when they're angry. The second thing is, it's an opportunity for you to model how you may have done things differently in a similar situation. It's an opportunity for your child to help you, because you're asking them for help. When I was little, I did that. What do you think I should have done? You're sowing the seed. And here's the big one. The restorative conversation is an opportunity to strengthen the fabric of your relationship with your child. Because when you spend the time and you empathize and you slow down, and all kids want your time, that's all kids really want, in my opinion. That relationship, it's a type of bonding. And the next time something kicks off, you know, my child Ruby is different with me than she is with my wife, and that's because I think I've made a lot of changes in how I deal with her reactions and her flare-ups. Genuinely, I think there's a big difference. I do get it wrong. We all get it wrong, but because acquiring knowledge, practicing skill, being reflective, um, it's become more of my. It's like more habitual now for me. You know, I don't need to shout her. I'm not going to tell her off because it doesn't. It's not worth it. Nothing ever happens. It doesn't help. It just causes more problems. So this is the step change you've got to make, mums and dads, in my opinion. Stop trying to correct them in the moment. Recognize that when they're angry, you're only going to make it worse. See past the swearing. See it as a stress response, and make the time for the restorative conversation. Put it in your reminder. Put it on a post-it note. Because I'm going to say this again. When you don't make time for that restorative conversation to reflect on what happened earlier in the day, you start to feel bad. And you're like, oh my God, my child's going to grow up to be a brute. I'm not parenting properly. And now you overcompensate. You overcompensate. You become more hard in the moment because you think you need to correct them. And if you don't do it, the intent is good, but it's nonsensical, right? Your child is in a plane and there's a storm. What they don't need to hear from you at that moment is, you're a shit pilot. What are you doing? I taught you to fly better than this. They don't need to hear that. You know what your child needs to hear? I can see the storms coming up. I'm right next to you. All right. You know, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's all right. I can see what's happening here. This looks difficult. Help them land the plane. When they've landed the plane and you've come off the plane and you're in the lobby and you've walked into the canteen and everything's calm, that's the time to have the restorative conversation. And because you know you have those conversations, you're not going to be so harsh in the moment. That was my breakthrough. That's probably my biggest breakthrough when it comes to me helping my daughter, is I now know, having that restorative conversation, I'm going to have it most of the time. And it gives me confidence to see past all the bullshit, all the swearing, which is really, it's just noise. It's like what you would do if you were angry or somebody wound you up at the lights when you're driving your car. It doesn't mean nothing. It's just hot air. Please like and subscribe if you've not already. We're nearly 1,000 subscribers. I'm so humbled, honestly. I'm getting back onto the content. So, yeah. Catch you soon, guys.